So Google just dropped something that I think is pretty important, especially if you're a type of business or type of individual that likes to make videos or use videos in terms of for your ads or for marketing to any extent. It's called Gemini Omni. So let's take a quick look at the video that Google put out for Gemini Omni.
I didn't shoot that. Oh, it's, it's the coming. It's the dollars. It's old. It's it's holy. Seven. Good dollars. Holy.
Okay, so that's the introduction that they gave when it came to introducing Gemini Omni. Now, we're going to be going through this entire document and breaking down each and every new piece that Gemini Omni has to offer and what it means for you. So, with that being said, let's get right into the video. So, up until now, AI tools were kind of specialized. You had one tool that made images or a different tool that made video. Now, we've had Gemini in terms of capability of VO and generating images. And we also have, ChatGPT that has very similar structures. But Omni is Google's attempt to put all of the capabilities, text, images, audio, and video, all into one model that can understand how they go together and understand fairly solidly. And the reason this matters for you specifically is if you're running a small business or you're a marketing person or honestly just the everything person, is that video has always been one of the pieces of content that most small businesses just skip or businesses just skip in general because it's either too slow, it's too expensive, or it's too technical. Well, Omni is aiming right at that wall. So let me show you what it does, how it's different from the tool that everybody likes to name drop, which is Sora. And now we have like things like Higgsfield, how to turn it on, and what you can do with it by, next couple days. Okay, so how is this different than what we've had in the past? Well, two things make Omni different, and they're both worth understanding. And the first is that they have the any to any idea. Now, you can hand it a mix of things like a reference photo plus an audio clip plus a one line description. And instead of just gluing those together, it reasons across all of them to make one consistent video. So Google's pitch is that it understands physics and culture and how things actually move and look. So if you give it a product photo and say, hey, show me this rotating on a kitchen counter in morning light, it gets exactly what you mean right off the bat. But the feature that's more impressive is the conversational editing piece here. Now, normally, if you're editing video, that means you're looking at timelines or layers or keyframes, which is a whole skill you have to learn by itself. Now, with Omni, you can skip all of that. Now, this is very similar to, like we said, VO before and also Sora, but it's just much more streamlined here and feels more efficient. So, for example, if you wanted to say, hey, let's, make the background a snowy mountain, it could do that. Or replace the narrator's voice with a female voice, it could do that. Rotate the camera around to the back, it can do that. So, if we want to look at Google's example, here's what they give. We have a prompt of a video of a violinist playing a song. Let's play it. We have a great first video, but what if we wanted some editing? Let's say we wanted to transport them to a new environment. It's keeping the content of the woman and the violin, but it's changing the background. Same thing here, but let's say make the violin invisible. Nothing else is changing. It understands the context of the situation, isn't changing up anything unless it feels like it needs to. Now, from a different angle. So, this is much, much, much better than any other versions of AI generated content that we've had. And it's a huge unlock, especially if you're non-technical. So the barrier to video was never going to be the camera. It's going to usually be the editing. And now Omni basically turns editing into a full-on conversation, which if you can text a friend, you can already do. Now, there is another huge unlock here that I wanted to make sure I mentioned, and that's in the capability to create your own avatars. Now, this is something that they are taking inspiration from Sora, so not too surprising there. But if you wanted to create your own avatar and be able to access the new capabilities here, on the left-hand side of Gemini, you're now going to see a videos option. When you click this, it's very simple. This is where you can look to describe the video that you're looking to create. Now, if I simply click this plus button, you then scroll down here and you see the more uploads. Under more uploads, you'll be able to create your own avatar. Now, I've already created one, so I can hop onto here and it's already there. We're good to go. Now, the really cool thing here is you don't have to worry about somebody deep faking you to any extent. You have to go through a bit of a process of recording yourself and moving your head up, down, left, right, saying numbers and things of that nature. And there's also automatically a tag on any of this content so that it's guaranteed to know if this is AI generated. So you're not having to worry. Now, from here, you can then put yourself in any different types of scene, change the background like we were talking about, and do any and everything that you would want to do with these AI tools. You don't always have to go about clicking the plus button and going on to more uploads and clicking avatar. I know it takes a couple seconds, but you can also use the at symbol as well and then just at yourself, and then it'll do the exact same thing. Now, the other way to identify how to set up your own avatar is going down to your settings button, clicking that, and then going to the new avatar feature. When you click the avatar button, then you can look to create your avatar right from here. And if you ever mess up or you want to, take another shot at it, you can click the retake button from here as well. So just for a quick example, let me show you myself skydiving. I will say I'm not too impressed with the idea of putting yourself in these situations. They're usually only okay, and you can tell they're AI. But where I would recommend this is in terms of what we're going to look at later, the capabilities that we even seen in the trailer that they had for it, the demo of changing up scenery and things of that nature that normally would take a lot of Photoshop or some video editing skills, or putting yourself in new situations. And I really like the idea of taking a previous video that's already been recorded and changing things about that, like adding in effects and stuff like that, that normally, like I said, would take a good bit of time to do. Let's take a peek at this quick video just so you can see. Very simple prompt. Hey, create a video of me jumping out of a plane.
All right, this is it. Doing this. We are really doing this.
This is the most incredible feeling in the world. So as you can see, not the greatest version. Of course, you could update the prompt to be a lot better. This was just more sort of show a quick example. You see the hand is all messed up in here. When I jump out of the plane, I'm like soaring very slowly. You know what I mean? So there's some things that Google's Omni doesn't get right well yet, but most of these tools are still struggling with like how fast to drop somebody out of a plane, for example. So it's a good litmus test to try out for yourself. Now, the nice thing is that Omni doesn't just live within Google Gemini. It also lives within Google Flow, where you have access to more of those timelines, more of the scenes that you're looking to do, and then you can connect them all together. So this is another great opportunity where you can build using this new Omni feature in a more professional environment. Now, this isn't something that I'd recommend for most folks. It can be a little bit more complicated, but this does exist. And even just so you guys know, there's like capability to build out characters as well. So you can build and reuse the same character over and over again. Or for this example, like your avatar, upload your own and be able to build out these scenes using a consistent character throughout every single one of them. And the last door they're opening is for Omni to be built directly into YouTube within their shorts and their create tools. And this one's pretty cool because for folks that are 18 and up, it's rolling out for free. So you just can hop in, mess around, and see what this thing is doing before you even have to spend a dime. So there's zero risk on ramp. Now, in terms of pricing, it's pretty simple. There's a free tier, which you have rate limited, but you're still getting the capability to generate some generations, like a couple a day. Then you have Google AI Pro, which is about $20 a month, which is going to give you full access to creating a good bit of video credits. And then you can also use the Ultra tier, which runs around $100 a month. And that's the one that they just cut the price on, which is nice for heavy usage. And the honest move here, what I would recommend is to start free. I would start just as free as possible. Just save yourself some money. And then only when it makes sense to, only when you are starting to run into like, all right, I'm running into issues with generating, then upgrade to that $20 a month. And if past that, you're like, all right, maybe I'm needing to just utilize this to its maximum extent, then you could go to look to upgrade to that ultra tier, which is $100 a month. Another thing that I wanna make sure that you guys know is that there is no public API yet, meaning you cannot plug this into any other software, but Google says that it is coming in the next few weeks. So for now, this lives within the apps. So what do you do with this once you're on the platform? So what I wanna do is just give you a couple different use cases and then walk through some of the examples that Google themselves have shown. So the first example I'd recommend is turning photos into video. You probably already have a bunch of folders full of product photos, things of that nature, or photos of yourself. What you can do is simply drop in a batch, and then Omni can turn them into short, natural looking clips. And they're the type of kind that you could technically post on Instagram Reels or run as a Facebook ad. Now, realistically, this is going to be things that are going to be more so like stand ins and parts of a larger video. But if you wanted to take the time to, you could generate enough of them in sync using something like Google Flow to come up with a pretty solid final end product. So, another interesting one that Google recommends is turning complex ideas into visual pieces. So, the example here we have is amino acids.
To patterns like the alpha helix, and flat sections called beta sheets, forming a perfect three-dimensional shape.
Pretty solid. Another recommendation that I would have here is just anything to do visually. If you wanted to do some sort of visual mock-up or you want to just see what this would look like, you can then utilize that. If you have, for example, you want to take an image of yourself and then take an image of a piece of clothing that you're interested in, you can take both of those and then say, hey, well, what would I look like if I was walking down, Main Street, for example? There's a ton of different opportunities here, and it really just depends on how creative you can get. I myself can only offer up a couple different solutions when in reality there are so many more that applies to how you could specifically use them. And really all I'd recommend is get on the platform and try it out for yourself. Now, before we go, I did want to take a second to highlight one of the other major features that was talked about in this last conference. Now, if we're on to Google Gemini, up in this top left corner, you're going to see this new button called the Daily Brief. Now, what this does is it summarizes any and all the information from your Google Calendar, from your Google Drive, from your Gmail as well, and takes all of that information and highlights it into a daily brief for you. Now, this is something that a lot of people have worked on building in terms of automations themselves, but now Gemini has it right here. So if I click on this, you're then going to see all the things that I have in store. Top of mind. What do I need to make sure I'm paying attention to? What is there in terms of like an FYI? Like, hey, make sure you understand this. Looking ahead as well. So these are all things that I might not have remembered to think about or haven't been paying attention to as much. And now I have this here for me every single time I log onto Gemini. And the nice thing is that from here, I can click the draft social post button and then boom, it goes right into a Gemini chat to then continue this conversation from there. So very solid opportunity. And this is where we're heading with a lot of these tools where a lot of the automations that we're looking to build out are going to be integrated directly into these tools and make it so we're not having to do as much work because it's going to be right there within the tool already. So that's going to be a wrap for this video. And if this helped you to any extent, please do me a favor and hit subscribe. I am doing these type of videos more and more, trying to get up to about 3 to 4 a week. I take the AI news that actually matters for you and your business, and I show you how to use it. No jargon, no hype. Let's just get the most out of it and move on with our lives. And also drop me a comment about what's the one video that you're looking to make for your business that you could do now with these AI tools. The barrier to video was never the camera, it was a lot of the editing. And that wall is coming down. I'll see you in the next one.